All right, here we go. Little technical difficulties, but find your inner pirate. Let's go. Let's get hyped up. Come on, let's get hyped. This
We're
is a
back,
big
bitches.
one. This is a big one tonight, Drew.
Taylor Swift is a Chiefs fan.
We haven't even talked since all that popped off, really.
Right.
Just crazy. Just what a time.
Taking the NFL by storm.
What a Sunday night game. We're gonna get into all that. Drew is there at the game. Him and his girlfriend. But
Wife now.
oh, wife, what?
Yeah, fiance.
Well, we're gonna have to get into your trip and all that. I'm just here chilling at the crib. Got some postseason baseball on. My Rangers took care of business earlier. Let the cat in. The Rangers took care of business earlier, 4-0. Just a workmanlike effort. Played great defense. The Rays just could not match the Rangers defensively. They made 4 errors in the game, and Bruce Bochy and the Rangers get a first playoff win. Feel pretty
Wow.
good.
Against the Rays, that's huge.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and the
I
Rays are
mean,
missing a couple players. I don't know. Did you hear about that stuff about Wander Franco?
yeah.
Just just some bad stuff going on, some bad juju. I kind of think the Rangers are going to win this series,
Yeah,
but
I like
I-
that.
I'm kind of pissed though because they kind of blew things down the stretch. They had been leading the division all year, and then September they kind of have a swoon. Astros get in it. The Mariners are even in first place for a little bit. But the Rangers, like a week ago, regained control, and it looked like they were going to finish it out, win the division, get a first round bye. But those Mariners are tough, Drew. They took 3 out of 4. Took the game Sunday. The Rangers clinched the playoff berth Saturday, and they kind of celebrated Saturday night. I don't know if there's a little bit of a hangover from the guys Sunday,
Mm,
but they lost and the Astros won. Astros had the tiebreaker, so
wow.
that's it was looking like the Rangers were going to get a nice little bye, but it's all right. The boys won today, taking care of business.
Good. I'm glad. October is a beautiful time. You've got playoff baseball. You've got NFL football heating up.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
one of the
we
best.
we really have to remember to kind of cherish these moments right here because it goes away. There's a dark time in sports where there's nothing going on.
Yeah, like late July when it's like
Yeah.
that one day when it's like the only thing going on is the ESPYS,
Right.
and you're just like, what the hell? What do I do with myself? Put a
Yes,
gun in my
please.
mouth.
No doubt.
It's dark times like you said, but
Yeah.
how was New York, bro? You got to tell me about it. You go on like a road trip, or how'd you go about things?
Oh God, it was awesome. We drove. We extended the trip. So from Chattanooga, you know, New York is northeast. To start our trip, we went southeast, and we went down straight down to Savannah, Georgia, right on the coast.
Uh huh.
They have a beautiful historic town there. Um, we stayed there for a night. We camped. We played disc golf. We ate some seafood.
Hell yeah.
Uh, drank beer on the cobblestone road. And yeah, we just kept making it north. We'd drive, maybe 4 or 5 hours north, right along the coast. And we just made a real unique trip out of it, going up to Myrtle Beach and Ocean City, just all the way up to New York. And
Just whatever caught your eye on the way up to New York, just stop in,
yeah,
have a good time.
some rough, loose plans, but just for the most part, you know, go a little bit, keep it moving, stop, have some fun in that town, keep it moving the next day. It was great. And
I
then,
love it.
you know, the Taylor Swift stuff hit right in the middle of that, so we were kind of following that. Uh, Hoping to see her at the game. We didn't see her, but the Jets at MetLife, they put on a spectacular show. I mean,
Oh
everybody
yeah.
had these bracelets that were lighting up
Uh
and they
huh.
were synced up with songs, and they would dim the lights and these bracelets would start going crazy. They put on a
I
hell
love
of a
it.
live show there, for the ticket holders. And just a hell of a game. You said it at the beginning of the last pod. I mean, it Chiefs went up early. It came right down to the wire. It was real nervous in there. Lots of
Hmm.
Jets fans started heating up in the second half, and Zach Wilson put up pretty much the game of his career. And,
Yeah.
it was exciting, man. It was Chiefs barely squeaked it out.
Yeah. It looked like there was a lot of Chiefs fans in the house.
There
There was a
were,
lot of red.
but let me give a little caveat to that. They were not Chiefs fans. We were seeing like split households, you know, like dad and son who actually watch football. They're there rooting for the Jets. Mom and daughter are there trying to see Taylor Swift. You know, and you could really tell because there was no fan cohesion in there.
Right.
For as much red as you saw, those Swifties, they don't know the tomahawk chop. They don't know how to do that. So, all these things that should kind of be the home field advantage, the Swifties are just oblivious to it. So, I think the color may have been a little bit deceiving there. The
I
color
get
that you
that.
saw in the crowd.
I get that. Just the general. You probably have a lot of bandwagon New York fans that
Oh
root for
yeah.
the Chiefs there too. That they just they listen. They watch one game and they're just they don't know what they're doing with their life because they grew up in New York and they like football, but the football teams are just horrendous in New York for them. I mean, other than the worst existence as a sports fan is the Jets, Knicks, Mets fan in New York.
Yeah,
I
no
mean,
doubt.
put a gun in your mouth if you're one of those guys because they never win anything. At least the rational people, the people that know what they're doing with their life, they root for the Giants, Yankees, and well, the Knicks too. The Knicks still suck, but
Well,
yeah.
those rational people, Daniel Jones might be driving them to the gun next.
Oh gosh, yeah, he looked pretty awful last night. I mean, just can't like what's going on in New York football wise. It's just
No doubt.
tough time. Did you get? I saw you got some good pizza.
Oh, dude. I, you know, I ate a lot of pizza over the past couple of years, and just a little side health goal, I wanted to give it up for a little bit. So that was kind of a side mission of the whole New York trip was seek out the best pizza places, have them, enjoy them, and let it go for a little bit.
Uh
And
huh.
yeah, I
Just
mean, check my
reset.
Twitter at Drew Porter Net. You will go on there and see some of the best looking slices of your life.
I
There you
saw
go.
it. I saw it made my mouth water. I was like, "Oh baby, Drew's got some good stuff.
Yeah,
Drew's hitting
yeah, it
some good
was.
spots in New York." You eat some Russian food with Masha?
Yeah, we did that. Her favorite place down there, Nargis Cafe. Yeah, some. I mean, they do a great job. I don't know what any of it's called, but it's all good stuff. Plove.
You just
Yeah,
put it
good
in your
stuff.
mouth and it tastes good.
That's all you need to do.
That's all you
Very
really need to
courteous
do in
servers
life.
there.
When you're unsure about something, just put it in your mouth and it'll taste good.
We're gonna make that a quote tweet.
Yeah. But
um,
anyways, so Masha, you asked her to marry you. That's awesome. How'd that
yeah.
happen?
Um, Tried doing it a lot of different ways, and just at the end of the trip, I knew it was going to happen. End of the trip, 6 a.m. Right when we're about to head home. Had the ring sitting there, and I guess lucky for me, she said yes, because otherwise that would have been an awkward car ride home. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, that would be tough. Tough. Well, you'd be able to talk it out, on the road. Maybe it wouldn't be so bad.
Yeah. Well, I'm thankful it didn't get there.
That's amazing. I'm so happy for you, man.
Thanks, brother.
Tell Masha congratulations. Masha, she should get a little cameo in the podcast right here. Is she around?
Let's see. I'm gonna call her over in a second. Uh, just give me a minute.
I just want to tell her congrats. But yeah, Drew, big week this week.
Mosh, do you want to come get a shout out on the pod? Jay wants to. He wants to give you a shout out over here. Guest spot on
Hey,
the pod.
Masha.
Here's Masha Porter.
What up,
Masha
Jay?
Porter, wow. I like the sound of that.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. It's been an awesome trip and a great ending to it.
Hell yeah, I love it. Drew was telling me a little bit about it. Like, that's amazing. He was telling me about the pizza and all that stuff, and it seems like you guys had a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Masha. Packers Lions. Who you got?
Ooh, it's not very hard actually. I go Packers.
Oh, okay. She's
She's
with the
wrong.
cheeseheads.
She's wrong. I'll tell you that.
Uh
Oh, I meant to say.
oh.
Nah.
That game was last week.
Masha dropped the mic on her Packers pick.
Oh, I love it. Drew, congratulations, buddy. Masha's a great girl. I'm happy for you, man.
Thanks, man.
Um, but
Listen, I have some fantasy stuff. If
yeah,
we want to go over it.
yeah, I'm down.
Okay. Last time we kind of went over a couple of sort of uh, buy buy low, sell high kind of scenarios in which the board was very crazy. We had sort of bottom tier quarterbacks up at the top tier quarterbacks up at the bottom, and you just kind of didn't know what to make sense of it. And my advice was,
Yeah,
if you get somebody to treat one of those mid-level QBs as a top five, you make the trade.
right.
And if you want to try and sort out who's great and who's not, you can do it, but just be risk advised. My theory going into week 5, right, is the data that we have now is you can pretty well rely on it. Just in my honest opinion, you know, if you're looking at week 4 of stats, I think you can rely on it. And
Yeah.
we can start to sit here and say a guy like CJ Stroud, is he the real deal? I think so. You
Uh
know,
huh.
we can look at some of these cases here. So we'll go through them. And my advice on trades going into week 5 is go ahead and make that trade that the other person might be, you know, a little bit like, I feel like I'm getting a good deal here. Make that trade. Like if you feel confident and you want to go after Anthony Richardson in a league and you feel like a guy, will still be kind of treating him as a mid-tier quarterback, make that trade because Anthony Richardson is sitting at number 5 as a quarterback right now. He's missed some time,
Uh
and
huh.
I think we can rely on him.
Yeah.
And a couple other names to kind of look at there would be like a Kyron Williams type of
Oh
guy.
yeah.
If you think someone will still treat him as sort of a mid-level player, go take him, because that guy's for real, and he's number 3 as a running back. So we'll go through them here, and I just kind of want to get your takes,
Sure.
from each position group. But that'd be my advice: is going into week 5, go get your guy.
Yeah, I
Let
think
go of the one
it's
who still hasn't produced, and go get your guy. So here's top 10 QBs, Jay. I'm going to read them to you. I want to know what you think. Justin Herbert, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Jordan Love at number 4, Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa, Kirk Cousins, Patrick Mahomes down at number 8, Russell Wilson, and rounding out the top 10 is CJ Stroud.
yeah. There's
Any
two.
names kind of stick out to you there? Herbert, Allen, Jackson up at 1. You got Love at 4.
Jordan Love is the obvious one. I don't see that staying. I think he'll trade places with Mahomes. Uh,
Mm,
where Mahomes is, man, he killed me this week. I mean,
mm,
I had like a decent shot at winning my fantasy matchup. Throws 2 picks, just was not on it, and then of course Geno Smith couldn't bail me out last night. Just
yeah. He
Geno,
slid.
I'm just
He
looking at
slid
Justin
before the end
Herbert.
zone.
I'm looking at Justin Herbert, number 1 right now, and I could have had him. He could have been mine, and I was just in the draft in my big board. We like Geno Smith for some reason. I don't know. It's just I stayed true to my rankings, and it just threw me for a loop.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, you know, Jordan Love. I like what I've seen so far. He's going to come back down to earth. He got to play the Bears week 1. That was a layup game. Come out scheme for your first opponent all off season. They just came out guns a blazing. Now they had a couple O line injuries. That Lions game did not look good the other night. I expect him to fall back down to
Mm,
earth.
okay. You also had
Um,
Kirk Cousins, who used to be QB1 when we went over it last time. He's now QB7. Russell Wilson, I believe, was top 5. He's down at 9. CJ Stroud at 10. And an honorable mention, Brock Purdy at 11. Any thoughts on Cousins, Wilson, Stroud, or Purdy being up
yeah,
there?
I wanna highlight C.J. Stroud, and he's really who's found his inner pirate for me this week with C.J.
Mm,
Stroud, and D'Amico Ryans, the both rookie head coach, rookie quarterback. I mean, C.J. Stroud, Drew. What he's doing is through 4 weeks. It's a large enough sample size now that it's time to brag this guy up, give him his roses a little bit.
yeah.
Zero, zero picks. I
Yeah.
mean, he sees the field well. He really does. Got got great chemistry with Nico Collins, and Nico Collins is looking like a breakout. Now that he's got a decent quarterback throwing him balls,
Uh-huh.
Nico Collins looks like the real deal. And so,
He
yeah,
really does.
the Texans, man, the Texans went and found their inner pirate this offseason. They said, you know what? We're cleaning house. New coach, rookie quarterback, Will Anderson with the third pick. We're going to change our culture. We're going to change our identity. We're going to be winners this year. And in a weak AFC South with the vulnerable Jaguars, a Titans team that, they have a nice win the other day, but I really think that's more the Bengals being a dumpster fire right now.
Yeah,
You know, the the Texans, man, the Texans found their inner pirates this offseason
they
and
did.
so far through the month of September.
One other one I want to mention, he's down there at 12, but Jay, if you take the average points that he scores per game, he's the number 2 quarterback. And that's the guy who missed a game with a concussion, Anthony Richardson.
Oh yeah,
He would
he,
be QB2 right now if you just took his average points per game.
I believe it with his running capability. He's looked really nice in that Shane Steichen offense, man. They look like they know what they're doing.
No doubt.
Um, and even I love the Gardner. We didn't have our podcast last week, but I love Gardner Minshew getting a win. You know, just gutting one out.
Yeah.
He's probably the best backup in the league for my money.
Mm. Well, let's keep it moving here. That was some interesting takes on QB. So we're kind of looking at you maybe fading Jordan Love. You wouldn't be necessarily trading for him. We still kind of like Kirk Cousins. We love CJ Stroud. Um, and other than that, the list kind of looks a lot similar. It's just you have some severe regret on
Yeah,
Justin Herbert.
I
We
would
all get it.
actually. I'm really only high on Cousins and Wilson going forward because their teams suck and they're going to be playing from behind and
Oh, I like that.
they're going to be airing it out a lot, especially the Broncos, man.
So Jay, would Kirk Cousins, does he sound like someone who's attainable, who can be had for a relatively decent price,
Oh
and you
yeah,
wouldn't mind sending an asset over there to try and get someone like that?
especially in a league that we play in with a two quarterback league. I mean, you're always going to be needing a quarterback, even as injuries start to pop off as we get later into the season. You're always going to be needing to keep your eye out on the quarterback market, and if you got say your second quarterback's a Ryan Tannehill type, Derek Carr type. I mean, I would love to upgrade to Kirk Cousins.
Yeah,
And so I don't, depending on what position the other team that has Kirk Cousins needs, maybe you could work out a trade.
yeah. He seems like a guy who you just know there's going to be certain weeks that he's going to be in like a 45 to 50 scoring game, where it's just crazy numbers on the board. I mean, he's going to have those
And
weeks.
it's really Justin Jefferson also. I mean, just
Yeah,
throw the ball in his vicinity, and that's why Kirk Cousins has put up some crazy gaudy stats. I really think I really think it's a lot to do with Jefferson.
okay. Now, I don't know if anybody would ever be able to guess what has happened in the running back market so far. It's been crazy to start the season. If you would have showed somebody this screenshot and said this is the stats of running backs going into week 5 back at draft time, I would have thrown it out and said no fucking way. But here we are. Um, Number one, still predictable, and honestly, just by a mile has this. Number one is Christian McCaffrey. And
Yeah,
to
he's
put it in
been balling.
perspective, these other guys are like a couple points away from each other, on each tier down. Christian McCaffrey is 31 points ahead of number 2. That's insane.
Gosh, yeah, he's been getting some MVP love so far. Maybe
I
he
mean,
could be in the
deservedly
MVP
so.
mix.
A guy like that who just has really separated from the rest of his category, that is an important player to go get, in my opinion.
Yeah, and he went most drafts 1-1, right? Was he kind of the number one? Him and Jefferson.
You want to be disappointed? I think he went. No, did he go 1-1? He might have.
I think in most drafts it was like him, Jefferson. I mean, Cooper Cup was getting some hype, and I hope he comes back for me this week.
Yeah,
Cooper Cup was getting drafted early before he had this hamstring issue.
yeah. Christian McCaffrey didn't make it out of the top 5 of most drafts, so
Right.
we'll stick it with that. But here's the rest of the list we got here. So McCaffrey is number one by a mile. Number two, Raheem Mostert, surprisingly for me. Number three, Kyron Williams. Number
Yeah.
four, number four, Raheem Mostert's teammate, Devin Achan. Devon
Achan.
Achan. Whatever the hell.
I guess it's Achan now.
It's Achan. I mean, number four, that's insane. Um,
Yeah.
with his
Two
teammate up there,
Dolphins running backs in the top four.
would never have guessed it. Number five, we have old Kenny Walker. Number six, Bijan Robinson, Tony Pollard, Brian Robinson, DeAndre Swift, and rounding it out at number 10, David Montgomery.
Mm. David Montgomery has been a polarizing player on social media. I think a lot of people that drafted Jameer Gibbs are kind of disappointed with how heavy of a workload David Montgomery seems to be taking there in Detroit. I mean, 32 carries last week. He seems to be getting all the goal line touches. And that's a really good offensive line that he runs behind. So I kind of like David Montgomery. I think he's a guy that could be maybe if the wrong person has him in your league, maybe he kind of gets slept on a little bit.
No doubt.
And I mean,
Someone
I
who's
will,
sitting there thinking, oh, Jameer Gibbs, he might come back later in the season. Let me sell high on David Montgomery. You could get somebody to really buy into that.
or if you're a guy that has Jameer Gibbs, why not go get David Montgomery and just have the backfield of Detroit? Because that is, for my money, probably the best offensive line in the NFL. Playing some weak defenses in Minnesota, Chicago, twice. Um, you know, David Montgomery, if he's a guy that I think he stays healthy. I think he could be a workload guy. And
Yeah.
there's not many of them. I want to see Jameer Gibbs be more involved because I think he's electric, and I think he will become more involved as the season progresses. But that's something to monitor.
You've got, we had talked about the Eagles' backfield preseason, and we were saying it's a mess. They got too many guys down there. I still kind of believe that, but here you are with number 9, DeAndre Swift. A big part of it, DeAndre Swift, week 2, he had 28 rushes, 175 yards, and a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
And that's bringing him up quite a bit, that one game. But you have to count it, and you have to look at that and say, in some way, he's almost a must start every single week. You know, and I don't know. You have any thoughts on DeAndre Swift? Kind of a similar
Yeah,
guy, Brian Robinson, right above him at number 8.
yeah. With Swift, it's as I say that the Lions have the best offensive line. I forget that it's the Eagles that have the best offensive line. And DeAndre Swift, if he's the preferred option, then I love him. But I think the Eagles they are they're very sophisticated in how they run their offense, and I just think it kind of is a matchup thing week to week. I think Kenneth Gainwell, once he gets back, Kenneth Gainwell is going to get 10 to 15 carries, and
Yeah.
I think it's DeAndre Swift's job as running back one right now. Um, but I just worry as we get later into the season if he's a playoff running back for fantasy guys.
Yeah. Brian Robinson is a guy you liked, I believe.
Yep, we got him on the team this year on the Renegades.
Yeah.
Um, I like him because Antonio Gibson, the backup, has had some fumble issues, and that's really opened up more snaps for Brian Robinson. He's been used in the passing game a little bit more
we
than
talked
we're
about
used to
him.
seeing.
We talked about him. I was a huge fan just because of Eric Bieniemy going over to run that offense over there, and Eric
Hmm.
Bieniemy being a former running back himself. I just thought it was a match made in heaven. Um, it's nice to see him performing and getting some top 10 action. Jay, what would you give me any idea on what to do with these kind of guys up here at 2, 3, and 4? We have Mostert, Kyron Williams, Devon A. Chain. I mean, those guys all had a potential to be on the waivers at some point this year, and
Yeah,
here they are sitting at 2, 3, and 4.
yeah,
Um,
it's crazy. Um, I'm gonna take the weak way and the easy way and just say Williams is my favorite out of those three, just because of the workload. Just because I think Mostert and Achan could, they're gonna split carries, but I think they're both still super valuable. But Kyron Williams and that Sean McVay offense, we talked a little bit about it earlier in the year about how they're changing to more of a gap run scheme. And I think that's really, we're seeing Kyron Williams. I think he's been the real deal. I'm not going to say he's going to stay a top five running back, but top 10, you
yeah,
know? Um, but man, that Dolphins offense is so electric. I don't blame you if you think one of those guys is a better rest of season running back, but I
I
really
mean,
like Kyron Williams and what he brings to the table.
Achan is the guy I picked up off waivers 1 week ago, literally to this day, 1 week ago.
Oh, really?
And by the way, it was with my second priority. So it had gone through everybody's waiver claims and made it around to my second waiver claim. And yeah, he was still available. I'm going to hold on to him. I think I'm going to start him next week. I sat him
Uh huh.
this last week.
I mean, he's just got so much speed, and he's just a wonderful fit in uh McDaniel's offense.
Yeah,
They do a little similar to McVay in his running scheme, but more so what Shanahan does, the zone run. Just open up a little hole for him, and he's gone with that speed. So
no doubt.
really, Achan's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, Jay, we'll keep it moving here over to wide receiver. Um, again, kind of playing out how we could have envisioned here at number one is Justin Jefferson, kind of the
Hmm.
clear favorite there. Number two, right behind him, is Keenan Allen.
Okay, yeah, he's had a great start to the year.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that you look back and say, why wasn't he top 10 pick? Why wasn't he up there with everybody else? Who knows?
Yeah, it's weird. He's just kind of under the radar in general. Just when everybody talks about the great wide receivers, his name never gets brought up with the Jefferson and Tyreek Hills. But
Well, and
when
that's
he's
who's number
healthy,
three.
Tyreek,
Yeah, there's your top three
yeah.
clearly in the league.
And
Jefferson, Allen, Hill.
I really think Tyreek and Jefferson are going to go head to head this year, and they're both going to try and break the all-time receiving record. I
Mm,
think Tyreek mentioned that he wants to do that this year, and Justin Jefferson was pretty close to breaking that last year.
yeah.
So I think that's going to be a storyline to watch. Those two and Puka Nakua catching like 200 passes this year.
Listen, you just guessed the top four.
I knew he was coming. He had to.
Yeah, that's who's number four. Right behind Puka, you have Stephon Diggs. And
Yeah, he's
then,
been balling.
uh huh, right behind him is Devontae Adams. And then here's where it gets interesting. Nico Collins makes it in at number seven.
Hell yeah.
Your your team this week that went and found their inner pirate. Um,
I'm
following
trying to trade
Nico.
for him in our league if I can.
Okay. I
Because
would
I
think it
guarantee,
would be
I'm sure whoever has him is loving it, but I think I probably love him more than whoever has him. I'd be willing to pay.
okay.
So I might look at that later. We'll see. I,
Exciting.
I really need Cooper Cup to come back and just kind of solidify my lineup.
That that's all of a sudden looking pretty scary if you've got those two in there.
Yeah.
Well, following Nico, we have AJ Brown, we have Mike Evans, and rounding out the top 10 is Adam Thielen.
Hmm. That's surprising, Thielen, man. The Panthers have been awful,
I mean,
and
he's above Amon-Ra St. Brown, Devontae Smith, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Ayuk, Jamar
yeah,
Chase, all these guys, Chris Olave. Up there at number 10 is Adam Thielen.
he's always been a good touchdown guy. I'm sure he's grabbed some touchdowns for him, and I know Andy Dalton when he played last week, he put up some pretty good stats, and I'm sure that, Thielen was the beneficiary of that. But yeah, he's not a guy I'm fired up about. Maybe he's a sell high guy for you out there. You
Well,
know.
that's what he's been listed as. The Generals in our team owns him, and he's labeled on here as manager likely to trade.
Oh, okay.
So if you wanted to go grab him, there he is. You know, Carolina doesn't have a whole lot going on in their wide receiver core, and they've made that public today that they're looking to trade for a number one.
Yeah. And the Panthers, I kind of have something on them, but we might save that for later.
So your only buy here is maybe a guy like Nico Collins. See if you can go steal him.
Oh, I love Nico Collins, man. He's a big guy, and he's just fluid, good route runner, and he just man, I'm just so impressed with C.J. Stroud. I think what we're seeing is a pocket passer. Um, Cowherd's been calling him Jared Goff with more mobility, and I can't disagree with that. I think that's a great take. I think that's a damn good quarterback in this league, and he's showing it in his rookie year. It's not too big for him, and Nico Collins has been waiting for a decent quarterback to come in there. So yeah, go buy Nico Collins.
Okay. And
I don't
Thielen,
I don't see him slowing up anytime.
I mean, this wide receiver group is the only one that almost everybody looks pretty difficult to trade for. If you're looking at Mike Evans, AJ Brown, Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, Puka, Tyreek, Keenan Allen, Justin Jefferson, those are hard. But
Hmm.
you look at a guy like Nico Collins at 7. That's interesting.
Yeah,
Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen is your guy to say, nah, let him go.
yeah. I would try and get what I can for him if somebody's willing to pay for a top 10 price or
Okay.
close to that. You know.
Okay. Well, we'll move on, and we'll just run through this last category because it's tight ends, and who gives a shit?
Hey,
I'm kidding.
Greg Olson's gonna kick your ass.
No, but there has been some thoughts. Some people want to remove the position from fantasy football. I
Oh
refuse.
no.
This is where you can get your edge, in my opinion. So here's what we're looking at with our top 10 with tight ends. And I think the list may surprise you.
Yeah.
Number 1, TJ Hawkinson.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, a guy I picked up on waivers last week. I picked up Sam Laporta and Devon Achan on
Oh
waivers last
wow.
week. And there he is at number 2. Um, Behind him is Cole Kmet. It's a little bit surprising, but he had a huge week last week. After him, you've got Evan Ingram. Now we get into Mark Andrews, Hunter Henry, Travis Kelce, Jake Ferguson over in Dallas, Tyler Higbee over in the Rams, and Zach Ertz rounding out the top 10.
Zach Ertz, huh? Kind of the forgotten man.
Yeah.
Was he even drafted?
No, he wasn't. He was a waiver claim. In fact, he's available.
I mean, Zach Ertz out there turning back the clock. He has been pretty good. I'm not trying to act like I'm calling him a spare or anything. It's just he kind of fell off the map last year, and nobody really saw what the Cardinals have been doing. I mean, the Cardinals have been a tough out.
They have.
The
I want
Cardinals.
to point out Zach Ertz in 3 of his 4 games. He has 8 or more targets. 2 of them being 10-target games.
Okay,
So,
that's a good.
that's it's something to rely on, honestly.
Yeah, that's a good target share right there. And I think Zach Ertz, he's a guy to look at if tight end. We're coming up on everybody's going to be having a bye week now. We're in week 5. If your tight end is on a bye, go pick up Zach Ertz. I'm not sure the matchup this week specifically, but
Well,
he's the guy that's had big seasons before and is featured a little bit in that Arizona offense. Josh Dobbs has been pretty decent. So yeah, he's a guy that I kind of like, Drew.
before we mail in that pick there, I do want to say that there's 2 more tight ends on this list who are technically available. Could be traded for, could be picked up. Well, no, not even traded for. Yeah, you could pick him up. The
Uh
number
huh.
3 guy, Cole Kmet. And
Oh
I know
yeah.
half of his points came last week, more than half.
Mhm. And I
So
like him.
I mean, he's a solid guy, but he's the tight end 3 right now, and he could be picked up off waivers. And another guy who's the tight end 8, Jake Ferguson, could be claimed on waivers.
Yeah, I wouldn't pick him up this week just because it's the Niners he's going
Okay,
against.
okay.
But yeah, the Cowboys, they like Jake Ferguson. I like Jake Ferguson. I do not like the backup tight end, Peyton Hendershot. I think he's a bum. So yeah, Jake Ferguson, I'm happy when he's in the game because I don't like when the other tight ends in.
Yeah,
Um, so that's kind of the nicest thing I can say about Jake Ferguson. He's nothing special, but maybe in a good matchup week, um, maybe you look at picking him up.
yeah. Okay. Well, listen, Jay, that's all we got for the fantasy football coverage. I mean, it's my idea is this week, go get your guy. And we went over the top tens. Find someone in there who you're going to want to try and target and go get and go grab them.
Yeah, I'm just saying right now, if I can get Mike Evans for Nico Collins, I might do that. I
Well, Jay, I
might
mean, you'd be giving up also a known asset there. I mean, Mike Evans is, you know, he's right up there in the top 10.
that's something I might look at. We'll see. Um, but yeah, I love talking fantasy. That was good stuff, Drew.
Awesome.
This is a big week this week, Drew. This is OU Texas week.
Ooh.
We gotta tell the people about the time you snuck into the Cotton Bowl.
Oh my God. We went down there just sort of drunkenly without tickets. Or was that just me just trying to
It
get
was
it?
only you.
I don't know what in the hell I was thinking or doing. Just, yeah, I don't have any ticket, but I'll find a way in.
I think you sold yours for a pretty good deal.
Okay. Hell yeah.
It might even been me that bought it because that was that. I think it was maybe. I don't know for sure. I just remember I came in and then you were right behind me. You just tried to sneak in right behind me at the little turnstile.
Yeah, two in a turnstile.
And the old lady, she saw you, but you were kind of already had a step on her.
Uh-huh.
And she tried to like go and grab your wrist, and you just slipped out, and we
Slipped
just
right
ran
out.
in.
I mean, what's she gonna do? Those things are so crowded. Once you're in, you're in. And I knew
Just
that. Just get through, get in there, and you're a phantom. You're gone.
it was just an all-time moment. And then you went and sat on the 50-yard line.
Oh, that
Just
was
you had a
awesome.
great ticket.
Yeah, that was
Um,
great, man. Good memory.
I watched that game with Parker Steffen, and it was just awful because we lost, and Parker was just not a good guy to be around. The vibes were off.
That's brutal.
I was so mad that OU lost that game. Baker Mayfield. I was. It was bad. I'm hoping OU can be better this week, but man, Texas has got a good team.
Okay.
Texas,
Oh,
they're ranked number 3. People are talking, they look like a national championship contender. OU is 5-0, played pretty well, but they were 6-7 last year. So just people have been afraid to pump them up too much because they were so awful last year. So it's going to be an interesting game.
I
Number
know you're
12.
I know you're rooting for the Sooners, but if you had to take one betting wise, who would you put your money on?
Well, I already bet on Texas Sunday afternoon. I've been trying to bet these college games early when the lines come out. I bet Texas minus 4.5. Thought that was too low. The line is like 6.5 now, so it's some good line value I got. Um, and it's really, hey, I'll be happy to lose that bet. It's kind of a win-win
Okay.
in my eye. Unless Texas wins by like 3 and I don't cover, that'd be kind of bad. But hey, if OU plays these guys tough, you never know what could happen. College football, you could get a rematch again in the Big 12 championship. Because it is looking like Oklahoma and Texas are the top 2 teams in the Big 12 this year. For the most, I would say that's a pretty solid take. The Big 12 is not very good at all.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, it's OU Texas week, Drew. It's a big week. We had a lot of fun down there in Dallas when we were in school together, and
No doubt.
it'll be another good one. I don't want to go to the game. I'm going to go to the game next year because it's going to be Arch Manning, and OU's got like a 5-star quarterback that's a freshman this year. I think next year's game could be even better.
Ooh,
So
that could
big
be
week.
exciting.
You want to do a sad flight, happy flight, Drew?
Let's do it.
I mean, for my bad flight, there's no other team than the Pittsburgh Steelers. they their team flight got delayed for the second straight week. You get your asses kicked by the Texans,
Yeah.
and you're just sitting there. Kenny Pickett's just sitting there with a banged up knee. That can't be good. Sitting on the runway with just
Uh,
him, that can't be good for his knee. We'll see if Trubisky gets the start this week. But man, things. Mike Tomlin said it. Things have got to change, and it starts with this offense. Matt Canada is terrible. He's one of the worst play callers in the league. It's been that way for years. It's just, Ben Roethlisberger kind of make it work. You have a transition year with Trubisky and Pickett last year, but it's really showing, man. Matt Canada, I mean, he should be like a Division II college offensive coordinator, not in the NFL. He just the Steelers just look stale on offense. Nobody's ever open, and it's just Kenny Pickett hasn't been playing that well either. But gosh, he just hasn't had much help.
You know, Tone Diggs, he's one of the guys on the Pat McAfee show, and
Mm-hmm.
this was kind of the week. It was just sad to see. I mean, you could hear it in his voice that he just gave up. He's not interested in football anymore this season. He's not invested in them winning because he knows there's no shot. I mean, you picked a great one there because that's absolutely what we're dealing with. Just that ride home must have been
Just
just
miserable.
miserable, and everybody knows that the all hopes are ripped out. Oh, that's a good one, Jay.
Thank you. You got one?
So yeah, I wanted to go, and I believe this is where it was. Patriots at Cowboys. Was
Oh
that it?
yeah.
Yeah, Patriots.
Oh
Sad
yeah.
flight home. I mean, they haven't ever lost with that margin. I can't remember ever seeing Bill Belichick team get blown out that much. Um,
Hmm.
and this was another reaction from a guy from the Pat McAfee show, Boston Connor. You know, he's rooting for a top 5 draft pick now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just it's gone from they can be sneaky good to we're looking at Caleb Williams, we're looking at one of these quarterbacks
Well,
get
that's
get off of
that's the
Mac
sad
Jones.
that's the sad flight home is now you're looking at truly like we don't have a quarterback. Like the
Uh-huh.
fans next game, they're going to be booing Mac Jones in the first half if they're not coming out of the gates and leading the game right away. They're going to be
Hmm.
booing him and they're going to be
Yeah.
chanting Zappy. I guarantee it'll happen week 5. And I want to add something more to it. This is one that Mike Florio talked about in the off season. But Mike Florio is connected. He doesn't just say anything. He's calculated, and he
Yeah.
was hearing that Bill Belichick could be on the chopping block this season.
Mm. Wow.
If he doesn't perform, he's trying to ride this out and beat Don Shula's all-time win record, but it might not be with the Patriots. And he has to really be thinking, I mean this flight must have been sad for the players, sad for the fans, and Bill Belichick must be squirming.
Hmm. Yeah, that's interesting, Drew. And Robert Kraft, there's been whispers, he's Team Brady when it comes to the Brady Belichick stuff, and
Yeah,
I think his patience is running thin because it's been 3 years now,
yeah.
and the Patriots, they don't look disciplined. They don't look like the Patriots of old. They don't look outside of Tom Brady. They look they just look lethargic. They come out and get their doors blown off early in these games. They don't play with any real swagger. I mean, I think Bill Belichick has lost his fastball, and I
Mm,
think he's probably lost it for a couple years now. He thought he could resurrect Cam Newton, but that Cam Newton just could not stay healthy and was too old, not good enough. He's tried to make it work with subpar on offense. I mean, there's no good wide receivers. He can't draft worth a lick, and I think that's been holding the Patriots back.
mm.
Is his drafting ability has really been holding the Patriots back, and Tom Brady's not there anymore to cover up for it. And so yeah, that's kind of who I had walking the plank. Drew was Mac Jones
Ah,
this week. So I
well,
just think it's the beginning of the end for him in
yeah,
New England.
that's interesting. Um, I think you're right. I think everybody feels it in the air. Um, it might be it might be a rebuild for the New England.
Hmm. Yeah, it could get ugly in New England this year. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Let's turn it up though. Let's change up the vibes. Who had a happy flight for you this week, Drew? Who was going home just feeling good about their win and the vibes were high?
let's see here. I'm looking through who I love that one. Love that one. Hmm.
I mean, the Chiefs have got to be they kind of felt like they escaped with that game. I don't know how
Yeah.
good the vibes were, but it was a good win in New York.
I mean, there were a lot. I feel like I want to give five, but I just. I'm gonna pick one here. I want to go with the Rams. You know
Okay,
this
yeah.
this game was kind of under the radar, Jay. The Rams versus the Colts.
Hmm.
Who really gives a crap? But listen, the Colts are 2-2 after that loss, and so are the Rams after that win. But the reason why I think a lot of people pegged this team in preseason as almost a write off rebuild, you know, they're not going to be anything.
Hmm.
They've come out with this cast of characters who, seem to be the real deal. Kyron Williams, Puka Nakua, you know, you look at this and after 4 weeks of kind of sustaining this high level success between, this new Rams team, I think they're walking away from that overtime game, where it was it could have gone either way, but it went with the Rams and it was well earned. And I think you're looking at a team that really believes it's a playoff team.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I think what you got to like what you've seen if you're a Rams fan so far this year. Not a lot of hype with them. But Cowherd had him in the top 10. He had him 10th in the herd hierarchy, so he thinks they're a top 10 team.
Yeah.
I don't know if I think they're that high, but they're definitely there in contention. And McVay is just so good of a coach. He's so good, top 5 coach in this league, and he has them competing every week, no matter. You know, I worry about them as the season goes on and they get some injury or two. If they have enough depth to hold up, but yeah, they're got to be feeling good about themselves right now.
Yeah.
I like that.
Who do you have?
Uh, for me, I got the Bucks. I
Ah,
think Baker and the Bucks are just feeling great about things. You go in, you beat your divisional rival, 26-9. Just an ass beating. Baker's feeling good about himself. He was saying that this is the first place since McVay's the only other coach in the NFL that's let him be him and let him have control of the offense the way he wants. And you can't argue with the results. The Bucks have looked good. He's got a great connection with Godwin and Evans, and that
you
Bucks
called it.
team.
You called it in the off season, by the way.
I did a little bit, but I'd never put my money behind it. I bet on the Saints to win the division.
Uh,
But yeah, I always believe in Baker that he's an NFL quarterback and he's got some good weapons. I mean, this team was built for Tom Brady to win Super Bowls with. It was just kind of a dud year last year. Brady was old, and we don't know how really locked in he was. Let's remember that he did retire
yeah,
before last season started. So there was just some weird things going on. A little bit of a just a hangover on that team last year, and I think Baker's the perfect guy because he brings energy, he brings that confidence to the locker room. Guys love playing for Baker. And yeah, the Bucks, man, they're getting rowdy on that team flight after whipping the Saints' ass, heading back to Tampa.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Well, I love that pick. Um, they're another team that I think, just like the Rams, probably sitting there in the off season, and a lot of people saying, you know, this isn't the team, this isn't a winner, and there they are. They're 3-1, Jay.
yeah, and they're gonna be there. I think the rest of the year. I think they're gonna be. I don't see why they can't win that division.
Love to see it.
I love to see my gambling in the NFL this weekend, Drew. Uh, do a quick little betting report.
Let's hear.
College football was not as kind to me. I went 5-8. I was hot early, but had some bad games at night. Just kind of didn't go my way. 5-8 in college. That's all right though. Because NFL 4-0, Drew.
Yes.
Just getting just getting hot. Got a little lucky with the Eagles. Had them in a tease. I thought for sure Ron Rivera was gonna go for two and mess up my teaser, but they didn't. They went in overtime by 3, so they covered the -2 on the tees. 60 and 59 year to date, Drew. I'm just definition of average so far, but
Well,
better to be up than to be down,
no doubt.
even if it's only by one win. We're just grinding.
Well, it's solid to see, as long as you're in the game, as long as you win some, you lose some, you're still in the game. You can have those big pop off weeks that'll really pay for everything. That's how I've always thought.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. And I had some baseball futures hit yesterday at the regular season, or Sunday with the regular season ending. So that gave me a little extra money. I'm really playing on house money at this point. Um, so that's kind of where we want to be. I put a future in for Luka Doncic to win the MVP this year. I had to put my money where my mouth is with that one. Um, Future bets can be profitable if you're willing to wait them out. I kind of learned that with the Chiefs last year. I'm gonna pull the trigger on the future at some point. I love the Niners bet I put in preseason. I really think they're just a class above everybody else in the NFC. We'll see a little bit with the Cowboys. Should be a good challenge for them this week, but yeah, it's exciting, Drew. You want to guess the lines week 5?
Let's do it.
All right. So Thursday night, they gave us a real clunker. Bears at Commanders.
I'm
Shout
excited.
out, shout out to Pardon My Take, Big Cat and PFT. These are their two teams. I think the Commanders. I guess the -5
I'm pulling it up.
at
They are
home.
-5.5.
Okay. I kind of like them on a teaser leg, eventually, maybe as a money line parlay, maybe even just -5.5 as well. I don't think the Bears will block their defensive line, and I think Eric Bieniemy, Drew. I think he's really showing he's a great offensive coordinator, keeping the Commanders in some of these games.
Mm.
I was really impressed last week. They had a real chance to beat the Eagles. And I think that was a little bit of Bieniemy. He prepared to against that Philadelphia defense in the Super Bowl, and him and Andy Reid had some success, especially in the second half of that game. And I think he kind of brought some of that formula to the Eagles game last week. So
Yeah. That
that'll
was
be something to look in their rematch later in the year.
It was an exciting game, and honestly, I said it, and I mean it. I'm excited to watch this game. Um, I know we're just going over the lines here, but I feel like they're both kind of teams on the up and up. I know Bears had, they have not had a good start to the season, but last week looked like kind of the first week that Justin Fields got to play as himself.
Mm-hmm.
And they almost came away with the dub, but not quite. But I I'm excited for this game.
Yeah, yeah. I hope Fields continues to progress. We don't want to see bad quarterback play. Um,
Yeah.
hoping that he can build off what he did last week.
Yeah.
The Jags staying in London this week. They're going to welcome in the Bills, and this is one of the more interesting matchups of the week, I think. Um, so it's neutral site. I guess the Bills -4.5.
They're minus 5.5.
Yeah, the Bills they've been on a roll. I think. I mean, they kicked the shit out of the Dolphins. I
Yeah.
think right now I would have them power rated as the number 2 team behind the 49ers. I mean, they look better up front. I still worry about them cold weather getting pushed around. I mean, I just can't get that Bengals game out of my head. It's going to
Yeah.
take some time, but man, they look really good Sunday.
I'll take the Bears, or I mean, I'll take the Bills by a mile. Um, I'm not
Yeah,
I'm not sold on this Prince Trevor Lawrence is
yeah,
next best thing of the NFL. I haven't seen it. I know he had a good game last week. I was watching, believe it or not, on my trip. I just I don't feel that they can beat the Bills. Not right now.
yeah. I would tend to agree, and that this might be one that I bet later in the week. Um, Giants at Dolphins next, Drew.
Oh God.
Um, Pretty big spread, I think, in this game. North of a touchdown at least. I said 7.5.
It's at 10.5.
Oh baby, wow. I guess so. The Giants were 10.5 point underdogs versus the Niners on the road. Vegas might think, and the Niners covered that, so the number probably should have been even more than that. That's interesting. They think the Dolphins. That's a lot of respect for the Dolphins.
Well, I mean, if you ask me, I think you're looking at a team that could have, should have broken the record for most points scored just a week ago. And you're also looking at this team that is honestly on a historic losing streak by how much they've lost by in
Mm,
weeks.
yeah,
I Crazy enough, I like the Dolphins here.
yeah. This is probably one. It's either Dolphins or pass for me.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't want. I bet on the Giants versus the Niners, and it was not fun watching that unfold. And the Dolphins. McDaniel said he wasn't too pleased with anything he saw this past week, and I think they'll come out focused and try and put up another good effort. And who knows, not 70 points, but they might try and push 40 points in this game if they can.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that'll be one to keep an eye on. Saints at Patriots, just two ugly teams, Drew. Just not going to be that fun of a game to watch. Unfortunately, I did bet the under in this game. The under just screamed. This game just screamed under to me.
Yeah. I like it.
I think it was 39.5. Um, Kind of a little bit like what I saw in the under last week in last week's game. The the Titans and Bengals. Um, Yeah, I couldn't make a line on this game, Drew. I said pick 'em.
So you,
I didn't know who deserved to be favored.
huh? Well, what's your guess? You have one?
I think it could be a pick 'em game.
Okay. Well, there is a line, and it's Patriots minus 1.5.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That's home field advantage. Um, I don't know.
You
This
know
is
what? I'd take the Saints by 1.5.
Yeah. Derek Carr looked like he came back too early last week. He looked like he needed to rest his shoulder for another week.
He might need to rest for the rest of his career.
Yeah, it's not looking good. Yeah, I don't know. This is a game. I bet the under just because I don't feel good about either quarterback really.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. Next, the big divisional game, AFC North,
Yep,
the Ravens at Steelers. Um, I guess the Ravens minus 3.5.
you got it on the money.
Okay. I think I saw, I'm betting a little baseball. I was on the sports book earlier. Thought I saw this was at 4.5, and it must have moved back today. I think
There.
there was some buzz maybe that Pickett might be really injured, and this might be Trubisky playing.
Ooh.
Something
Well,
to monitor.
I would call conspiracy on that if that's what happens, because I would say that Tomlin is probably just recognizing that Steelers fans just have they're looking to direct their hate somewhere, and they might just put it on Kenny if uh
Yeah,
if it comes out to another one. I mean, right now it's all on Matt Canada, but yeah, they might be looking to boo somebody this week.
yeah.
That
My
total is at 38.5, Jay.
This one is.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know if I bet under in this one. Just I think
I'd be thinking
Tomlin
it'd be over.
Tomlin basically called out Canada when he said things got to change, and I think they will come with a good game plan. Um, and who knows if it's Trubisky? I mean, Trubisky can do some good things, and I like what I've seen from Lamar Jackson in that offense. I know that Steelers defense is good, but I think the Ravens can score about 24 points in that game. I can see that. Just a matter of how much the Steelers can score. If they can go 27, if they can score 17 points, around there. I think
Yeah,
they can. So yeah, that might be worth an over might be worth a look there.
I like it. I mean, I feel like it's just such a low total. Why not?
Yeah. Unless there's like bad wind or something, weather, I don't know, but yeah, that could be worth a look. Um, Next up, Drew, we got the Panthers 0-4 headed into Motor City Dan Campbell's house, Detroit Lions.
Hmm.
The Lions faithful restore the roar, baby. They're feeling great about things. I guess they're going to be heavy favorites in this. -8 was my guess.
It's 8.5.
Yeah, so right about where I think it should be, and the Lions will be a popular teaser leg. Tease them down to -2.5. That'll be uh, that'll be one I'd probably have some interest in. -8.5, I'm not sure about. Could be open to a back door, but at the same time, Lions they usually come out and play pretty good at home. So I don't know. You got any thoughts on this one?
Uh, I mean, I like the Lions. Panthers just feel like they're still figuring things out. I saw right before we went live on this that they're trying to trade for a number one wide receiver.
Oh,
Eight
really?
and a half, 8.5 points is too many points for me to make a move, though,
Uh huh.
on anything. I like just a no bet on it, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
If
Okay.
anything, Panthers, if you feel like they're going to rally around something, but just feels like a lot of points. I don't like it.
Yeah, it is a lot of points. Texans, my Texans, going into Atlanta. I guess the Falcons coming off that London loss, they're still going to be favored here. I guess -3.5.
Um, it's 1.5.
Oh, okay. Wow. Lottery people like what they've seen from the Texans.
Oh, my bad. That's 2.5. I thought that was my bad. Yeah, that's 2.5. The Texans
Okay.
Falcons.
Still, you can get the Falcons under a field goal at home. Um, but I just going off the vibes alone. It's got to be Texans or pass for me in this game. I want to say the Texans are more locked in, and I love what I've seen from them. But
Did you
going out
see?
on,
Did you see C.J. Stroud's little clip? That he was talking about the Texans fans.
I don't think so.
He said we work our asses off because when you guys buy Houston Texans gear, we want you to walk around with some swag. We
Hell
care
yeah.
about that. We care about it. We want to win with class. We want you to feel proud wearing that Texans gear. He strikes me as the guy who gets it on all levels.
Mm-hmm. He
Unlike Desmond
does.
Ridder.
He does, man, and I love what I've seen so far. That's why he's found his inner pirate. He really has, and I knew he found his inner pirate before that Georgia game, and I should have stuck to my guns. I said after watching that game, he was my number one quarterback, but I went back to Bryce Young as my number one. But Drew, if we're redrafting right now, I mean, don't you think Stroud's going one, Richardson's going two, and Young probably goes third?
I mean, I might even put Anthony Richardson number one.
Yeah, I couldn't argue with it. He's got the physical tools and like what we've seen so far.
Yeah.
It's interesting. I really, the Panthers, man, they gave up a high first round, or they're going to be giving up a high first round pick this year to Chicago. And so I think that's kind of why that report came out. They said they're looking at adding a receiver.
Yeah.
There's really no reason for them to lose this year because they don't have their own first rounder. So that's just something to keep an eye on. The Panthers are still going to try and be competitive, even though they're 0-4. But Bryce Young, he's got to pick it up.
Yeah,
It
he
hasn't been a
does.
good start. Hasn't been a good start.
Yeah.
Um, all right, another divisional game, Drew. We got the Titans going into Indianapolis. We'll see if Jim Irsay has the roof open or not. It's yet to be determined. You got to check his Twitter to stay up to date. Um, I
That's
guess
true.
it's worth a follow, Jim
He
Irsay.
is, no doubt about it.
I I guess the Titans would be favored -1.5.
You got it right on the money.
Yeah, this is a game I want to take the Colts and tease them up maybe to 7.5. But that's about all I would do with this game. This divisional game, I think it could go either way. I think it could be a Vrabel game. I think it could be the the Anthony Richardson game. Game I'm probably staying away from. Maybe teasing the Colts up.
Ooh. Uh I mean, I like it, but remember this is a Tennessee Titans team that um kicked the shit out of the Bengals this week.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was a big game. But you've also got these Indianapolis Colts, Jay. And you said it. They're playing at home. Anthony Richardson, we haven't seen what is capable yet. It feels like every week he's been better and better and better. And yeah,
They'll get a really tough test this week against a good Titans defense.
yeah. I'm excited for it. I don't even know how to pick it. I really don't.
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson is just such a wild card in it. I feel like
Yeah.
he could totally win the game for them, or we're just gonna be looking at Vrabes just putting on a classic master class.
Mm-hmm. I agree. This will be a fun game to watch. I think we'll learn a lot about these teams. Are they both 2-2?
Huh?
Or are they both 2-2?
I think so. Yeah, and I said it at the beginning of the year. I thought the Colts could be a team to watch to win
Yeah,
this
you've been
division.
high on them.
Yeah.
Um, Moving on, we got the Bengals, the struggling Bengals going into Arizona. I guess the Bengals -5.5.
And it's the Bengals -3.
Oh wow!
That's such an interesting game, honestly.
I mean, the Bengals have to win this game. This kind of is a little bit like the Monday night game. I took them versus the Rams, just kind of thinking it would be an all-in game, and they did play pretty well. They covered that game for me versus the Rams. Could be a similar spot here. I would tend to want to take the Cardinals in this game. They're just the more informed team. But if it's only -3, I don't know. This is probably a stay away. This is a fishy line to me, Drew.
It really is. I kind of like the Cardinals. I mean, you're sitting here looking at Jamar Chase. I don't know if you saw his post game press conference the other day. A reporter asked him,
Yeah,
yeah, and he said, I'm open. I'm always fucking open.
yeah.
Would you rather have that, or would you rather have, this sort of team that was not nobody really thinking of them, and now you got Josh Dobbs just sort of rolling, and this
Yeah,
offense is working, and it looks good,
it
versus this
does.
struggling team that's starting to, point fingers.
Yeah, man. Vegas knows they want everybody to think, oh, just take the Bengals. They should easily. This is definitely a Cardinals or pass game for me. Maybe hit the Cardinals on the money line.
Here's a question. I mean, do the Cardinals have a good fast pass rusher?
They have this guy Gadecki that's kind of been a little breakout player. He's kind of a menace on the edge.
Because one thing with the Browns, with the Bengals, they signed Orlando Brown Jr. from the Chiefs. He has been horrible.
Ooh,
I
yeah,
mean, if you want to really point the finger, there it is.
that's
Their
your
left
guy.
tackle.
Yeah, that hurts to hear that. Being a Sooner, being a former Chief, but yeah, he's a guy that's kind of had struggles at times. So
Everybody says he should be a right tackle, but he insisted on it. It's in his contract. He was hired to be a left tackle.
yeah, he should be a right tackle. Oh well.
Yeah,
Let's keep it going, Drew. We got the Eagles going into LA to play the Rams.
love it.
Interesting game right here. I guess the Eagles -6.
They're 4.5.
Okay, yeah. I mean Puka Nakua.
Yeah.
Um, can't bet against that guy. Shit. I think Cooper Cup's supposed to be back in this game. will be interesting to see how him and Nakua how the target share is divided, but um, this should be a fun game to watch.
I'm excited for it, Jay. I
I don't
mean, I
know.
unfortunately it's going to be in the afternoon. My attention is going to be on the Chiefs Vikings, but I'm going to keep a close eye on that one.
Yeah, and that's the next game up. I guess the Chiefs -6 in Minnesota.
They're at 5.5.
Yeah, I mean the Chiefs should. They're gonna score. This is an over game if I've ever seen one. Um, I don't always feel comfortable betting. What's the total in that game, Drew?
53.5.
Yeah, so that's probably the highest total on the board this week.
Probably.
Um,
This feels like one of those games that we were talking about with Kirk Cousins where he can go for like 40 points or something. He has that in him.
yeah, I think this could be a game maybe a little bit like last week, like you saw at the Jets, where Chiefs come out hot, build the lead. Kirk Cousins gets into 2-minute mode, and they kind of just start throwing the ball all over the yard, throwing it up to Chase or throwing it up to Jefferson,
Yeah.
and maybe this is like a 38-28 game. I could see that. I think this will be a good one.
There's a podcast in the Chiefs community called Only Weird Games.
Yeah,
And it just so fits the Chiefs. This I can guarantee you it's going to come down to the wire. It's going to be very close. Ha, I wouldn't even touch the spread at 5.5.
yeah.
For me, I would take the Chiefs money line and maybe a player prop, and I wouldn't touch anything else.
Mm-hmm. I
Me
respect that.
personally, unless you
Um,
want to take the Giants or I mean the Vikings +5.
yeah, I'm not gonna bet against the Chiefs.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
I do think we'll have an inspired Vikings effort here. It just Mahomes wasn't very good last week. I think he'll take it personally this week to bounce back. And I expect points. I would maybe look at a Chiefs team total over this week.
Mm.
Might be my play.
Well, Jay, if you want to get into a little bit of news as well, breaking news here on the podcast. This was posted about 15 minutes ago. Taylor Swift has quotes high hopes for Travis Kelce romance. So,
Wow.
you may look at that and you may say that he's going to be in a stable position. You know, Travis Kelce is going to know he's got the girl already. He had kind of a disappointing week. Now he can just go out there and ball out. And he knows that there's a lot
Yeah.
more eyeballs on him.
She's probably not going to Minnesota either.
No, she's not. Yeah. That's what I'd
Yeah,
say.
I like the Chiefs team total over this week.
Awesome.
All right, Drew, a couple more. We got those Jets that you were just there seeing. They're heading off to Denver to play Sean Payton, and this will kind of be the Nathaniel Hackett game.
Oh, yeah.
Sean Payton was talking trash, and then Rodgers came back at him. Just a shame that Rodgers is injured. But Zach Wilson, he looked better, and we'll see if he can bring that out to the Mile High City. I guess the Jets would be 1.5 point favorite.
They're 2.5, Jay.
Yeah, I like them this week.
Well, actually, it's the Broncos -2.5.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah.
love teasing the Jets up to 8.5.
Mm.
I think Zach Wilson. I'm not gonna say he's fixed or anything, but I think the what we saw from him is translatable to this shitty Broncos defense. I mean, they're nothing special. I think the Jets kind of have a little bit of a bad taste in their mouth. I had the Chiefs tied to a parlay and a teaser, so I was rooting for the Chiefs. But I know a lot of Jets fans are upset about the pass interference call on Sauce Gardner or the
Yeah.
hold or whatever it was. And so the Jets, I think, are going to have a bad taste in their mouth, and they're going to play inspired this week. I'm going to take them plus 2.5. I'm going to tease them. I think they should be favored.
Well, I kind of like your analysis there. I don't have any I don't have any more confidence in the Broncos after watching them go toe to toe with the Bears. That just doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah, that was just a shit game.
The Jets, however, looked really good. They looked inspired with Aaron Rodgers back there.
Yeah,
I like it. I like it, Jay.
I'm going to hit that one after the pod.
Good.
Next Sunday night, prime time, baby. Sunday night football. We got America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, going into San Francisco. Two of the better NFC teams going. I guess the Niners minus 3.5.
That's where they are.
Yeah, it would be. This will be a good game. This will be one that comes down to Dak Prescott. If you think Dak Prescott is good, then take the Cowboys plus 3.5. If you think kind of more towards my opinion of Dak Prescott, you think he's serviceable. He's capable of good games, but he's not a top 10 quarterback. Then you take the Niners and you trust the skill positions that the Niners have, and you trust Kyle Shanahan is a way better coach than Mike McCarthy.
Mm,
And I hate to say it, but that's what's holding the Cowboys back is the head coach and quarterback.
mm,
And I'm gonna have to see Dak divisional round Dak do more than what he's done so far for me to think that this isn't the Niners conference or
yeah.
the Eagles.
It's a hell of a game. I'm excited for that one.
Yeah,
Um, you know,
we'll
I
learn a lot about the Cowboys in this game. If they're
you really will.
actually a top five team this year, or if they're kind of what they were last year.
You have to be a little bit afraid of their performance against the Cardinals.
Yeah, that was just the classic Cowboys just reading their press clippings too much. Puff, you know, that was just a classic Cowboys performance in Arizona, just
Yeah.
coming out flat. But yeah, this will be a fun one. This will be one of the most anticipated games of the year so far.
Yeah, I like it. I'm
And
excited
then
for that one.
lastly, Drew, to round out the week, we got the Packers going into Las Vegas for Monday Night Football. I guess the Packers would be minus 2.5 point favorite.
Packers are 1.5.
I kind of like the over in this game. Maybe I don't know. Don't have a really good feel for it.
Yeah,
And
I don't
the
either.
Monday night game. I don't know if Jimmy G is going to be back.
You know, Jay, we talked about Jordan Love kind of being in there with the top 5 quarterbacks in fantasy points. And you kind of see him going down. I do too. You see the Raiders kind of headed in the opposite direction. Josh Jacobs had his first great game. Devontae Adams has been very solid this year.
Yeah,
Aiden O'Connell, I don't know if they're going to roll him back out there. He looked solid.
yeah. I don't think it's too big of a drop off him to Garoppolo.
Yeah. That should be a good game, but I would take the Packers personally.
Yeah, yeah. I don't have a great feel for it, but maybe I can get talked into it later in the week. We'll see. Yeah,
I
that
think
was
it's
some.
just more of a stable team. You know, they have more options at wide receiver.
Right.
Is Aaron Jones back?
I'm not sure.
I think he was back this past week. I just think you're looking at a more stable team rather than Raiders still kind of questioning um, their head coach Josh McDaniels. I know he's been in the headlines.
Mm-hmm.
I might just go with the more stable team.
Yeah, that makes sense. Uh, but yeah, Drew, that's it for week 5. Guess the lines. You got anything else before we get out of here?
You know, I guess the only thing that came to mind there is just a reminder, just appreciate where we are. I know we can kind of get really focused on looking into the next week and looking into playoffs and hoping it comes already, but we're here, man. We're in the middle of MLB playoffs.
Hell
Football,
yeah.
football, we're getting it in bulk every week. Just appreciating life, man. That's
Right
where I'm
on,
at.
brother. I love that. October, one of the best sports months we have.
No doubt.
Got to cherish it. Phillies getting a big inning right now against the Marlins. Their crowd's going crazy.
Awesome.
We got the D-backs and Brew Crew tied 4-4 in the 5th. You gotta love October baseball. Just, just the craziness, the drama.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, Drew. I'm gonna go ahead and end us there. Um, go find your inner pirate this week, buddy. Peace out.
Hell yeah, Jay. Peace out. Have a great week.